Every time you say that, Harry, they throw things. You need to stop over. Oh no! My good one. Plummet's not alone here. Oh no, Plummet.
Desire here needs to watch out.
Oh, big nades. The big nades are risen up.
Hello and welcome to the last ever Halo 5 Pro Series $5,000 championship. I'm Sharzy1, joined by Mr. Wes Clutch. Up first, we've got Pokerstars up against EGIF. But what we had in the last round, Wes, was a little bit of drama with Sauce and EGIF. Bad blood dating back from maybe last week's shenanigans. But a ball glitch drama this time. What is your stance on it, Wes?
Yeah, there was a ball glitch, supposedly. I don't know. I was always a player that glitched online, but if it's against the rules, I guess that's one of the situations where you kind of refrain from having to do it. I think the ruling was that it is against the rules, correct?
Yeah.
And with that, like, you know that as a player. So it was never against the rules back in the day in online tournaments. So I would just do it every time. But at the end of the day, it's as a player, you know the rules, you know what to do and what not to do, and breaking them in the middle of an intense game, to me, it appears like a little bit of karma is coming back from last week, right? When they should have, when they had the lag out, they should have at least gotten an opportunity to replay from the lead that they had, or, in all honesty, that game was a wrap. So it's God giving one back. Karma always happens, I swear. It feels like this might have been a very, very quick case of it, but overall, I think they're now 1-on-1 tied in the
Bad blood series.
Questionable things that happen in the middle of the series, right? So you wanted to be the big guys last week. Well, now you have to kind of pay the price this one.
Well, what we have here is going to be Pokerstars up against EGIF. The winner goes through, punches a ticket to the knockout stages. The loser, unfortunately, it is the end, and it will be the last time they probably have to play Halo 5 online. We've got Pokerstars' roster: Batchford, Looney, Squashy, and Warlord. That roster's been through thick and thin together. They've stayed the course for most of the seasons. EGIF, SLG, Fragger, who's actually just replaced Mose after Mose has been DQ'd for, well, we all know. Snipe Drone and Kimbo also been locked in, ready to go for this match. What way do you see it going after you obviously seen how strong they were last week with Mose, but this time they've got Fragger, and there's a little bit of a dimension here, Wes, where Fragger doesn't speak English, so SLG works as a bit of a translator.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right, though. I think they have enough individual skill to get over the hump this series. It's the future that I'm worried about. How far can they really go in the tournament, right? I think EGIF will be just fine with their understanding of how to play high-tier Halo. They have a leg up over these guys, but we'll see if that is going to be affecting them later on in this tournament for sure. So we're hopping into the game right now. Batch is going to go down. It looks like Kimbo's already got control of Camo. Fortunately, Pokerstar is able to play that ball, and Kimbo in a 2v1 situation is going to lose Camo. You want to play a little bit more patient. I think that's something I saw last week that I really want to see if players can learn from that, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen in a week span, but playing smart with Camo and not feeling pressed to just shoot the first person you see.
Yeah, this is something we haven't really seen certainly from you expect from the top European teams. They're not being very patient and calculated with the camouflage. You spoke about last week how Booba Dooba was one of the best camo players in the game, but we're just not seeing that over this side. They're a little bit rushed and a little bit more, you know, there's really a lack of patience there, Wes.
Yeah, I think just understanding the situation and playing slow is difficult at a high level, right? You want to impact the game so quickly. You have a limited time that you're invisible when you pick up the camo. You want to be able to make those plays. Feeling forced to do so and under pressure isn't always the best recipe for success, right? You want to take a page out of Booba Dooba's playbook. He plays so slow and methodical with it a lot of the times that sometimes he probably isn't successful and maybe plays the situation too slow, but more times than not, it pays off.
As we look at the scoreboard now, evenly matched at the moment. Both teams giving as good as they're getting. We're going to see another camouflage, another 30 seconds or so, and a rockets in 20 seconds. I'd like to see those two teams start to set up now. Maybe you as the rocket launcher, Wes, to secure that camouflage.
Yeah, we're seeing the blue team already. Mocket already set up for rockets right now. So we're going to probably see EGIF try and play for this camo. Are Mocket going to allow them to do that? Or are they going to try and pressure? It looks like they're pressuring Pelican right now from top pizza. There's no going to be a free camo given, in other words.
No free camos. Have we got a man on board with it? Squashy does have the rocket launcher, still has 2 rockets as well, it would seem, in the chamber, ready to go to work with it. Snipe Drone has secured that camouflage for his team. EGIF looking to put some time on the board, ahead by 20 or so, no, just under 20 seconds, it would seem. But at the moment, the early stages, Wes, would seem that these two teams are level in terms of ability.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one from the looks of it so far. I mean, Echelon Ball's just now getting kicked off. And we virtually have ourselves a tie game as this ball is actually going to go in the lead of Mocket. We have rockets in the hands of Mocket as well. But Fragger, he's going to be looking to push top left here. Nice shots on the Looney, but he gets immediately taken down and traded out. So it's a 2v2 situation for the ball. This looks like Mocket gets the first. Will they be able to continue the setup?
Pokerstars have gotten back within touching distance now, ahead by 2 seconds. But it's all down to whether these teams can transition well with the ball, secure those power-ups, that power weapon as the disengagement heads in towards this ball here where the rocket spawn is. Shots go down. Warlord gets a lovely double kill, a little 2-piece for him, and that should secure some sort of ball time, as though, although the ball has been played. Wes, you've been in the situation with a little bit of a ball standoff before. What do you want to say to your team if you're coming off the rip?
Yeah, you're already doing a good job with your Pokerstars, right? You're slaying right now, and you feel like you can hang with them one-on-one. You want to try and set up, get some kills before ever going for that ball once it's reset bottom middle. It's unfortunate that it reset at that time. Good shots by Snipe Drone to trade right there. Squashy forced to play this ball. But to answer your question, right now, you're starting to win your one-on-ones. You're starting to hit a lot of perfect kills. We've seen that the shots are on for Pokerstars. You got to kind of play behind that, trust in yourself, and just play standard Halo. Love the fact that they're getting their second set of rockets in a row here, potentially able to open up the map.
Now, we spoke about before how this bad blood developed between this Sauce and EGIF roster. If you're EGIF now, you really want to get past this team to have a second bite at that team and really just hammer home that maybe, you know, this is going to be the last time that these two teams, any of these teams, play Halo 5 in a competitive 4v4 setting that's been sanctioned by HCS Wes. So you really want to make sure that you go out on a high and you get the leg up and leg over on these other boys and really settle the score before we even head into Infinite. That's something that'll be in the back of your mind if you're a player in EGIF. I want to get back and get my own, get some revenge here.
Absolutely. This is a loss that players are going to have to sit on for a little bit, right? And that's important for just a mental battle that you have to have. You want to build that confidence going into Infinite. You want those bragging rights that you were on top at the end of the day. And setting yourself up for as good of a potential as you can have at the start of Infinite. Good shots by Warlord there, by the way, onto SLG. And taking down SLG is a big deal because you know he's one of the main slayers for this team. If you're able to win your one-on-ones against him, you can probably beat anybody on this team.
SLG, like we said before, the translator for Fragger, who doesn't speak very much English whatsoever. On board now with Snipe Drone. No doubt he'll be miffed. The last mass series got taken away from the way it did, but when you live by the sword, you can sometimes die by the sword, and that's what happened. Karma came back and bit them all too quickly. As we're on board with Patchford now, he was just back from a little bit of a hiatus, took a break, competed in last week's. He's back again as the Scotsman, looking to get involved, looking to get some cash money. No longer a part of that Kurgana vaccine side, but Snipe Drone now looking to be a factor on the map once again. Gonna see a camouflage as well very soon, and ball already towards that pipes area. So if you're EGIF, you have the ball exactly where you want it, Wes.
I actually like this situation for Batchford though. He found himself as like the last guy alive. He's trying to play his life by time. He didn't force to play and try and finish the ball carrier that he wasn't going to be able to kill in that situation. So now Pokerstar is able to have a 4v4 push. Looks like they're able to get one, but the battle over towards Camo looks like it's been won by Pokerstars. Actually, the last two alive are going to be on this ball. They're forced to play it. Is there a Camo player for Pokerstars right now is the question though. Looks like it did get burned, or it actually just came up. Okay. And now Squashy, another opportunity to see what he can do with this power up. He's kind of by himself in this situation, so I don't want to see him shoot the first thing he sees. Although there's two dead, so now you have that opening as the Camo player.
Yeah, you want to show just a little bit of trigger discipline if you're Squashy, Josh. allow yourself to move around, play around your teammates, really let them get the opening picks, get some people weak, and then put down those finishing shots. As he's behind 2 players here, this should be perfect for him. He's right behind Snipe Drone. He has no idea he's there, but does. Snipe Drone almost manages to take him down to no shields, and you can see immediately Snipe Drone makes that call, and Squashy dies because of that's a little bit of a miss play. Or do you think that's just, you know, one of those things that can happen if you're a camo player, Wes?
No, I think that he definitely could have potentially stayed alive if he played his life a little bit closer, if he had it thrust back or whatnot. I mean, I don't want to micromanage any players right now, but I think a top-tier player in that situation would have been able to still stay alive with that camo, continue to be a nuisance, and potentially impact the game further. Right now, though, we have seen a major swing in the points. EGIF already up to about a 23-point lead right now. And it was Pokerstars that we saw before this previous camo came up had the lead.
Yep, so Squashy really not able to get the better of the opposing forward with that camouflage, really able to turn that camo into any sort of equity on the map. No points in scoring. They only need 38 seconds now to win the game. And that's definitely doable in 1 or 2 rotations as the ball spawns up. Looney gets caught unawares by Fragger, who immediately then turns his attentions towards Warlord. That's 3 dead now, Wes. Batch for the last man alive.
Yeah, Bashford's outside pizza. He's getting swarmed down as well, and Kimbo actually just picked up a new set of rockets. So this is going to be probably one last push for Pokerstars, and they have to go against this new fresh set of rockets. Kimbo's going to immediately pick up the easy kill onto Warlord, going to rotate, find a flanker in Squashy, and that's going to probably be all she wrote if they're able to just hold the line at this point. They're going to have numbers in order to do so, so I don't see any way that we're going to see Pokerstars come back in this game 1.
Only 5 seconds required now. It should pretty much be all she wrote. SLG holding that ball out towards the pipes, and that is it. Game 1 does go the way of EGIF. And something I'm impressed by, Wes, I have to say, is Fragger. He's only come back now for this cup here. He obviously didn't play in the opens before that. And he hasn't missed a step. He's competing against these other players who have been playing week in, week out. So a good performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, he can play some Halo 5, right? There's nothing new there. Getting down into the aspects as far as like are your mechanics on point and whatnot, that's something that will warm up throughout the day. I know they've had a few series before this. 13 and 16 is not the most impressive performance we've seen by him, but him holding his own and allowing the rest of the guys to kind of put in the effort and the level that they know they can, I think that's what you can ask from Fragger, especially as a sub for this team for the week.
Up next, though, was Slayer on Plaza. And with the way that whole game shook out, there was no doubt Pokerstars were in the mix up until that camouflage you spoke about that Squashy maybe misplayed and didn't have the best of times with it. But there is a chance here that they can take this Slayer game and then push us to a game 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one kill at a time. You did a good job. I feel like they competed for the first set of a few rockets. They competed for the camos and they lost the game. That just means when you go back to the drawing board and you're trying to find a recipe for success, that you're going to have to do even more with that story, right? You're going to have to control the snipe. You're going to have to control the camo or the overshield, I'm sorry, on Plaza Slayer. And with that, you're going to have to be more productive. So when you get these things in your hands, you have to be a little bit smarter, a little bit more patient, and less risk reward. Because I guess it's easier with overshield to brute force your way into a place and get kills that way than it is with camo. But with the camos, you got to play a little bit more intelligent, a little bit slower, and let things come to you a little bit more fluently.
Yep. So we're going to jump into our next game, Slayer on Plaza. And of course, CTF Fathom will be our game 3. So we did, of course, it wouldn't be a Halo 5 Pro Series if we didn't get an oddball immediately first game on stream. So thanks again to the Great Red Shift for all he does for European Halo. We really do appreciate you, Matt. We don't really. I kind of hate you. But here we go. Slayer on Plaza. There's your overshield. No doubt both teams will be getting involved in the mixer in the Royal Rumble and trying to secure that for themselves. On board straight away with Warlord as he puts himself towards the blue window, puts a couple of shots down to an opposing players. Fragger gets a first opening pick, make that SLG. Snipe Drone also gets a kill. Squashy trades out with SLG, but it's 2 kills in favor. Make that 2-2. And overshield has been burned. Not a bad start for either team here, Wes.
Yeah, team's trading kills, but the most important thing was overshield burned to your point and Snipe Drone actually with the snipe. So now, even though we have a tied game, it's not necessarily tied off of the positioning aspect. You'd much rather be Snipe Drone and the boys on EGIF right now as he's rotating towards blue with the full sniper with the potential to carry his team in this game to an early lead.
That's something that we don't talk about often enough. You know, we all fall into the trap of, you see Slayer and you see, okay, well, the scores are tied, or there's only 1 or 2 kills in the difference, but we never really take into account who has the best side of the map, who has the side in which it's easier to secure that the camouflage, it might be the overshield or the sniper rifle. So to your point, it was a great start for them, and you can see they've taken a kill lead here, but they still have control of that power weapon.
Yeah, I'll take a trade every day of the week if it means my team's getting a power weapon. And a controller disconnect is not going to be good for Snipe Drone. So he's back in the game. Needs his teammate when he comes back. So teammate loses his life. Snipe Drone hits a nice no-scope after finishing off Bastard, though. And you thought maybe somebody was going to be there to capitalize. Doesn't look like anybody for EGIF was able to capitalize. But SLG somehow staying alive over here by the ramp, is doing insane things. Finds the snipe on the ground because of the reward he's got for playing his life so well. I think there's a player in yard, though, thanks to observer mode. Is there not? I believe he's getting flanked, and he lands a body shot, stays alive. SLG, I like the repositioning as well, right? You lose a teammate, you kind of have to bail on him, but more importantly, you need to get the snipe into a safe position to potentially affect this next overshield coming up in 15 seconds.
Yeah, sometimes you might have a sniper rifle or a rocket launcher, Wes, and you have to avoid you have to get away from your teammate to try and secure that, make sure that weapon stays in your control, and maybe you sacrifice that life in the short term, but the long term game is you get to keep that sniper rifle and keep being an influence on the map. As SLG is just on an absolute tear now. He should have died long ago on that soda stairs, but somehow managed to scamper away, and he still hasn't died to this point. He's going to get himself into an awful slobber knocker with Squashy. Can he get that kill? No, he can't, but he's done enough damage. Will there be someone there to get the clean up?
I mean, he played his life for so long, several times that time around, and being a difficult kill is so important because he helped his team secure this overshield by being such a distraction over by Loop. Unfortunately, that overshield just got back smacked. It's one of those power-ups. Could have been playing more patient stories that have been going on. Like I've already given you 3 of those speeches today. I'm not going to continue to do it. I do want to see better power-up play, though, and that overshield player not going to be an example right there.
You sometimes fall into the trap. If you have that overshield, you think you're invincible, but every now and again someone has got the kryptonite, gives you the old back smackaroo, and that'll send you to the grave real quick. As we're on board now with Warlord, he's actually the second best Graham in his household. As Outcast, we've already decided is the better Graham. Here's Snipe Drone, fresh snipe rifle, puts a couple of shots into Batch, but he's down to no shields. SLG gets that cleanup. Ahead by 5 during this whole scramble. Not going to see another overshield for some time now, Wes. So they have all the ingredients they need to extend this lead. Oh,
tons of ammo in the snipe. A nice headshot by Snipe Drone on the back of that player's head as he was trying to escape from yard. Had no idea Snipe Drone was going to be at yellow with that snipe. Unfortunately, Snipe Drone doesn't land the double, but they got themselves all of a sudden an 8-kill lead, so this game's starting to get out of hand.
And one man getting all the frags. Yep, you guessed it, that man fragger. 8 kills and only 5 deaths so far, so he's been an influence throughout the game. As Snipe Drone finds the face of Looney inside blue, and that will only compound the misery for the boys over here on Pokerstars. They lost another kill. Warlord does trade it out with Fragger, that man we mentioned before, trying to be a factor. As you see Batchford just in the player outline slide himself in the loop, trying to gain some sort of territory on the map. Snipe Drone, though, I like this. Why has he decided to rotate, Wes?
Yeah, like getting closer to teammates, right? You only got 3 bullets, so you can probably waste them before you go down, but you don't want to be the first to lead the charge or be the first one dead when you have the snipe. And a nice headshot there by Snipe Drone. Overshield's coming up. He's going to have to land a couple more nice ones if he wants to secure this for his team, because 2 members went down. He goes down as well. So although the headshot came through, Overshield in the hands of Pokerstars right now, and now Bashford goes down, only trading a kill with it. Another wasted Overshield. A 1-for-1 trade is a success for the team that doesn't have Overshield if you're EGIF.
There was a sniff of desperation in Snipe Drone's play there. He's seen the overshield, Wes. He knew he had to do something to try and stop as his teammates fell around him. I feel like he'd done enough of those snipe shots just to back Batcher down for a fraction of time to wait for his teammates to spawn up in blue. And because of that, Batcher wasn't really able to be much of a factor with the overshield. But now, crucially, Wes, they're within 2 kills after being down by 7 or so before.
Yeah, Pokerstars did a phenomenal job. Even when you saw Snipe Drone get that pick, to your point, they still somehow won the battle for Overshield in a 3v4 situation. That was a great job by them. They've actually climbed back in this game because of it. It's a tied game. There's 2 dead. You're going to see these players swarm towards the last 2 players alive. Loop, they both go down. Now all of a sudden, Pokerstars in the lead. You asked if we could see a game 4 in this series. Pokerstars is answering that question here in the mid-game with a yes.
Trying their damnedest now to really push this series, give a good account of themselves as Looney falls over by the light rifle to a kill, a grenade actually. That's 2 kills 2 dead. Make that 3. Batcher the last alive down to no shields. The fresh wipe. Squashy now the last one alive. Kimbo shoots that barrel, puts a couple of shots into Squashy, and decides to scamper away now up driveway and leave that kill to his teammate. But as the mid-game starts to develop here and players are falling left, right, and center, they're so evenly matched. This could go either way, Wes.
Yeah, you got snipe coming up right now, and that's exactly what Kimbo has on his mind. He's going to try and block these bottom snipe spawns. Actually forces him for his team. Gets the information that the enemy team's going to be spawning blue in yard. And now all of a sudden, with the lead, it's going to be very difficult for Pokerstars to get back in this game and actually take this thing due to the last couple of scenery of events, right? You see Kimbo in a perfect position with this snipe to defend Overshield that's coming up. You're going to see Pokerstars forced to try and make a play. Are they going to be able to do it?
Oh, Squashy Josh is somehow snuck under there, under the radar, and took that Overshield right from under the noses of the boys over here on EGIF. How has that been able to happen? How has he been able to get up there, clamber without receiving any shots and get away with that Overshield, as he has just under a quarter of it left now? That's a massive misplay, and they're down by 2 kills all of a sudden when all the things were falling in the right place for them.
Yeah, you could tell they had no idea what time Overshield was coming up. 2 players actually go down to a grenade, and that's huge. And how in the world did the scene of events that just went down happen? Because all 4 dead for Pokerstars right there. Somehow, with Overshield and a solid push from different angles, you see Pokerstars defend it off perfectly. Now it's 45, 40, 46, 45 right now. SLG with the snipe in hands. Know that there's players over by blue and in hotel. These players in blue have to be careful because SLG lethal with the snipe, very individually skilled. With all this information, you have to think that he's going to hit one of these shots. He's only got 1 left in the chamber. Does lose his teammate in snipe drone to tie the game though, and SLG now could potentially get caught out.
We really needed SLG to find that body there. Find the face would have been even better, but now on board with Squashy. And they only need 2 kills in a 1v1 with Fragger. He has to win that one, though. Fragger does get traded out, and there we have it. 50-47 to score the Pokerstars, and it looked for all the while there, Wes, as though both teams were trying to lose the game as opposed to win it.
Yeah, right? It was either great clutch ups and disfavorable positions, or you couldn't have any better position and somehow you still managed to lose some of these fights. Either way, very exciting gameplay, and we got a tied up series 1-1, right? War going off 15, 8, and 9. Great job by them. We're going to the distance potentially in this best of 5. Pokerstars stepped up at the very end when they needed to. It really came down to the Overshield control, and you could tell that EGIF had no idea what time Overshield was coming up. When they had a full setup on the inside, you saw Kimbo with snipe, top snipe. There's no excuse for letting that Overshield go away. You have to have some relative idea of when the enemy team got Overshield last. You know, you could tell they didn't have that. They weren't focused at all on that power up coming up, and it came up to bite them.
Yeah, it looked as though they were resting on their laurels a bit, Wes. They had the snipe rifle. They had all the position in the world that they needed, and then took their eye off the ball. Now, these players are super experienced to a point where that should never happen. And we've seen the Overshield before that. It was Squashy Josh going, or was Batchford, in fact, going for top middle, and Snipe Drone was the one who watched them get it. So they should have at least had a rough idea of the time that it was going to pop up. But unfortunately, he didn't have it unlocked, didn't have his team all set up ready to go. And to be fair, with the sniper rifle where he was set up on S4, he didn't really have eyes to stop any player pushing that. Maybe if he has that opportunity back, he maybe rotates to blue or rotates towards the top of the cine stairs, and he has a better line of sight. But we get that one gone, and we put it in the dust, and now we're here on TTF on Fathom and back on board with Warlord.
Yeah, Fathom can be such an interesting game type. I swear teams can be like just on point with their flow on Fathom, and then teams can also have that same point where they can struggle. You see Kimbo now with the camo. He's going to have... Does he know 2 players are here, though? He does now. Decides to let one pass. He's going to try and take this one-on-one. Wisely backs down, because why would you ever want to take that fair one-on-one when you have camo? Play your life. He does go back to his flag. Trades, which potentially could help his team stop this gap, but you want more than a trade with camo. That being said, someone's doing work on the map, and it looks like it's Snipe Drown and Stark as they're at Fragger, as they're both bottom mid. They pick up kills. Not only kills, though, the flag has been picked up. It's been all the way brought back to the base. The return comes in, and EGIF's gonna punch it in 1-0 here in the first minute. So even though the camo didn't do a ton, he came back to his base and got the kill he needed, as the rest of his team with the railgun pushed, ran the flag, and got the kills they needed to take an early lead.
That flag had only a sliver left, Wes, before it was returned, and Fragger somehow managed to get his hands on it and throw it towards his teammates. So a great heads-up play from the Frenchman to secure flag number 1. But they had flag number 2 out and on the move already. That's what you talked about, Wes. Sometimes a team can be flowing, it looks as though it's a little bit even, but you take your eye off the ball for a second, the flag is already over the halfway point.
Yeah, Fathom's just one of those game types, man. It's like if it's going in your favor and you're getting the favorable rotations and timings, things are going great. And if you're not, it can be chaotic as hell. So you want to see what can Pokerstars do to slow this down, find some weather in the chaos, and try to get their feet on the ground, because right now their flag is once again being pulled and they're at the risk of going down 2-0 very early in this game 3.
4 dead, 3 dead, 4 dead now momentarily for the boys on Pokerstars. And no doubt that means flag is on the move. SLG has already got it in the window. It's already home. Wes 2-0. We've barely seen 2 minutes of gameplay. Gonna see another camouflage, which Kimbo will have the time on. We can see he's already top middle looking to secure it for his team. And he looks as though he's going to pop it into his chest. Batchford has no idea it's there as he tried to scamper him through the window. But Kimbo has secured back-to-back camouflages. Looney's lost a railgun and given up the Predator combo. This could spell disaster for Pokerstars.
Right, we've seen total control of the power-ups and power weapons. Completely changed the stories from earlier in this series. It's all EGIF all day so far here in game 3. Kimbo's going to pick up an easy, I would say, railgun kill on this player. Misses it, but his nice shots with the nade potentially keeps this flag alive for his team. He's off fighting player Silo, player Pit. He gets both of them to no shield, finishes one, pulls the railgun out, gets the second, and now the last cap of the game is being brought in. Can we see these players overextend and stop it? The answer is going to be no. And with it, Kimbo's going to pick up one last kill before the game's over. 3-0, though, a very dominant game 3 from EGIF.
If you went to the bathroom, if you blinked, you've missed CTF on Fathom. It's 3-0 in favor of EGIF. An absolutely dominant display. And something you talked about was being a little bit more patient with the camouflage. I felt like Kimbo was there on that porch area, Wes.
Yeah, I think Kimbo, that last time around, that's a great camo play that we want to see. I mean, it's easier when you have railgun in your hand to be able to potentially pick up those quick kills. But much better control, I would say, from EGIF this time around. They gave a lot of power-ups and power weapons up in game 2. That's probably the reason they lost it. But this time around, I think they had everything every single time. And with that comes the easy recipe for success. You got a 3-0 because you had better guns, better positioning, and you were invisible half the time.
If you're Pokerstars, though, Wes, this is your tournament life. This last game, Strongholds on Empire, is your last chance to push yourself in the tournament. If you lose this game, sadly, I would say you're going home, but we're all already at home. But you need to bounce back here. If you've lost that Fathom flag as quickly and as dominantly as you have, what do you say to the lads to try and maybe bounce back and get things back on side?
Yeah, get back to your power-up focus, right? Because the overshield and camo influence this game so much. We're going to see Warlord pick up the overshield. He's got the time in hand. Does look like you saw EGIF play for the camo as Warlord turns around, sees all of his teammates dead. I like this, though. He's going to bring it back to blue, help his teammate not have a one-on-one in this situation. There's going to be a player outside as well, but they get 2 kills. Looks like the overshield is starting to play out pretty well. I'm wondering where this story with camo is going right now, but they're going to have control of red, they're going to have control of blue, and they start the game scoring.
So Snipe Drone was the man to secure the camouflage. He shot a plasma pistol out towards Looney there, but I really enjoyed that play from Warlord with the overshield. Wes, he went out, got the overshield, went inside, helped his teammate in a 1v1 to secure the blue, and then he stuck around. Sometimes you'll see players try and push really quickly and, you know, try and use that overshield to its fullest effect, but they had 2 strongholds, they had 2 points in control, so he made sure his team had that blue and stopped any spawns there as well.
Yeah, we see still, I was going to say scoring going in the favor of Pokerstars right now, but it does look like EGIF has been able to take control of that. Looks like they're going to be actually pushing onto red. Snipe Drone overextending here, going to lose his life, get the reset in that base, but most importantly, this pit stronghold is so difficult to transfer over at times. You really need to focus on getting slays, and it looks like they're going to opt to overextend towards blue, potentially get a trip cap for a brief second, but players spawning over at red, they're going to flop the map with power-ups coming up in about 25 seconds. I love what I'm seeing right now to Pokerstars to stay in this series.
Pokerstars is doing something we talk about in Strongholds all the time. Go where the enemy team isn't. Every time you see Snipe Joe and the lads go into red base. They say, okay, you can have red. We're just going to take blue, Wes, and keep doing that over and over. And you're going to just keep really hurting their chances of winning the game. Just frustrate the life out of them every time they try and secure this flag, or this stronghold rather. Every time they get one, they lose one. So they're in a real dangerous situation where they're going to maybe need to get a fresh 4 dead.
Yeah, Looney's going to try and pressure this camo, but there's multiple players, and because of it, he loses his life. Now Batchford, in a 2v4 situation, is going to try and keep control of blue. Has the overshield, but you know he's about to get sandwiched, right? Bottom middle is actually the stronghold being taken, and camo takes down the overshield, but it's traded out, so both power-ups off the map right now, but most importantly, the pit gets transferred over to EGIF.
Both power-ups cancelling each other out for the moment. If you are Pokerstars, you'll take that all day long. You had the camo, you had the overshield, but you're still winning the game at the moment. If you can get a couple of picks here, Fragger gets a kill, Warlord trades out Fragger there, so it's honors even at the moment as a scrap goes down for a turbine area, and bottom middle still in control of Pokerstars. And what you don't want us to do to EGIF is get a fresh 4 dead and give them the triple cap possibility here, because they'll start to run away with the game, as Squashy and his boys will try and make sure that doesn't happen to them. As he walks in towards his bottom red area, puts a couple of shots into SLG, does finally get that kill, and now Pokerstars once again starting to score and keeping themselves in this.
Batchford absolutely going off in the kill feed right now. Just picked up about 4 or 5 in order to get the bottom middle stronghold. It's such a difficult thing to do if you don't get a set of slays, and I don't really feel like I feel like they were staggered the whole time. Somehow Batchford came out on top and was able to get that transferred over, but it does look like it is about to go in the hands of EGIF. So back and forth, these two teams trading this bottom mid stronghold. This battle could dictate whether or not we see a game 5.
It's getting towards crunch time now, Wes. It's 8:15 on the clock, and we want to see both teams stay up and be a factor for these power-ups. You don't want to die too soon as Warlord dies, but fortunately Snipe Drone also dies, so it's 3v3 at the moment as Batchford puts a couple of shots into that barrel, also gets a trade. If you're going to die, make sure you go out and bring someone with you.
Wait a minute.
We're on board with Warlord, and we will see power-up secured as Warlord has actually left the tower area there, Wes, and he's going out to try and contest for overshield.
Yeah, I like this. Get out of the bottom middle stronghold, help your teammates outside get this overshield, and with it, go back to the bottom middle stronghold, right? Like, don't try and do too much, don't overextend. Work with your team here. So now Warlord's going to be complimented with this overshield in this situation. This camo player, though, he's got to know he's around somewhere. It looks like that player potentially went towards blue, actually into bottom middle. Batchford lands the melee on the camo. Can anyone finish it, though? There's a player trying to finish him off, but Kimbo saves his life, and with it, the bait and switch comes in. Squashy goes down. 3 straight kills go into EGIF's favor, and with that, they're going to be able to transfer this pit right over.
Fundamental Halo at its best, as you see. Bait and switch, the camo player killing the overshield player. 3 members go down, and now we have that thing that we didn't want to see. We dreaded from the start. It's a triple cap. SLG, Kimbo, Snipe Drone really starting to click into gear now and starting to score points as Pokerstars to stop the bleeding for just a moment, but still losing. And there we go, triple cap in effect again. And now we're going to see them go port to port, I fear here, Wes, and every time they try and spawn up, they're going to get taken down.
This is all because of that play with camo, and we've seen EGIF prioritize the camo over the overshield multiple times throughout this game. Right now, that's the one time that either one of them has made a big difference in this game. So you can tell the difference in strategies is taking place right now. You'll love to see that EGIF has been able to implement their strategy and have success with it. They've got this stronghold on lock, 62 to 48. They're continuing to score. Love the rotations and the swarms by them. You can see the observer mode with all these red Spartans always together. They're just running like a pack of wolves right now.
Running like a pack, hunting like a pack, hungry like a pack, as SLG finally loses his life. But that play jumping into that red area, that plasma grenade expertly placed to push Looney out of the hill so he could walk into it. So even if he loses his life, he still got the reset. That was so good from SLG. Vintage, classic SLG. Can Warlord and the lads really bounce back here, because they're down by so much and they seem to be losing control? This series is slipping out of their hands, Wes.
You got power-ups coming up right now, and Kimbo already out for overshield. What are we going to see Pokerstars do for this last run? They do win the one-on-ones outside for overshield, but unfortunately camo already in the hands of one of these players on EGIF right now. I believe it's Snipe Drone, and camo potentially just goes down. The overshield taking a ton of damage in bottom middle, but does the reset come in? Not yet. Bottom mid still contested until Kimbo gets the kill and the reset onto Warlord. A huge momentum boost for his team as they continue to score 87 to 51.
So far, the story, Wes, is every time an overshield has come in and tried to be effective, Camouflage has been there at every turn to cancel it out. Great play by both sides using the Camouflage, but by EGIF in particular, who just seemed to have been able to nullify that overshield to its fullest.
Absolutely. Beautiful, right? You thought, once again, the camo versus the overshield battle was going to be able to be a story that we watched. The overshield does tank a ton of damage, but a little bit of recklessness cost them the game here. 100 to 51. They're going to end the series here. It's a 3-1 series in EGIF's favor. And although Pokerstars showed signs of life throughout the entire series, it was really EGIF just figuring out a way to get the job done at the end. The individual skill came through. And honestly, it's not often we see the camo player have so much success against the overshield, but here and now we saw camo take over and win these situations. So they're both optimal strategies. It's just about how you apply.
One man in the stats that had a really good game was Fragger. Unbelievable. He's been drafted in the last second and had such a great influence. Warlord, though, had a bit of a struggle this game. 8 kills and 15 deaths. I talked about it once before with Wonderboy on stream, Wes, and in a game like that, towards the mid and late game, you start to prioritize that overshield. But this time we've seen Camouflage just every single time there was a chance, the Camouflage either got a trade or just flat out killed the overshield player.
Yeah, I think having that plasma pistol be so effective in the game was something that was majorly important as well, right? I think something that not a lot of teams focus on as much as plasma pistol control when the overshield's coming up. And if you are going to play for camo, get the plasma pistol. If you're invisible with that combo, you can probably strip the overshield down. We saw it at least once or twice in that game. I think that that's an amazing strategy if that's the way you want to go about things. If you think that you can do more damage with camo than you can overshield, then why not play to your strengths in that regards? You have the immediate counter to overshield. It's just your job to find that player. Textbook by EGIF. It'll be interesting to see if we see a little bit more cautious plays when these powers are achieved, right? I think overshield jumping into the bottom mid stronghold isn't necessarily the best strategy to get the entry frag, right? Maybe find a pick and then try and swarm into the bottom mid stronghold with overshield. When you just jump into it right after getting it, you kind of forced your hand already, and the other team, especially the invisible player on the other team with camo, can figure out a way in a situation to have success against you because you've just now put an indicator over your head and played your hand already.
Yeah, the team name was Pokerstars, and when you're that overshield player, Wes, and you jump in the hill, you're all in. That Camouflage player can see you coming; they know you have it, and every time they just said, right, break in case of emergency, they have overshield. We're going to take the plasma pistol. And time and time again, they stripped that overshield, they EMP'd it, and it was null and void. But that is going to be our series. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back very shortly when we get the next one all lined up. Don't go anywhere.